He's going to.
I just choked myself. Right?
I was just gonna say put your arms up.
Sorry.
All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the Oversight Committee on October 9th, 2025. First on the agenda is an update on the Opportunity Knocks program. I'll turn it to
Sweet.
Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Laudenbach, and I'm your Environmental and Sustainability Manager. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about a better way Opportunity Knocks. It's our day beautification litter program with wraparound services. That's well, I'll go into that during the PowerPoint. But before I do that, I want to highlight that we have some great things coming up. On October 18th, we have a cleanup at Sutton Wilderness. On October 26th is the Lake Thunderbird Workshop and Cleanup event at the State Park. November 15th is e-waste. Everyone loves that one. It's going to be at Westwood Aquatic Center, though, this year because of the construction at Jenkins right now. So, and then on the 16th, we'll be cleaning up Colonial Estates Park. So I hope somebody will join us at those. All right, a better way Opportunity Knocks. Just to remind everyone, originally, and to tell people who don't know yet, originally the litter program was designed to do open dumping abatement, to do litter control, crew stuff, to do water quality improvement. Water quality, yes, part of our TMDL stuff. AbWalk has a dual focus though, because now it's doing those litter crew functions, but also have the wraparound services to try to lead to a pathway of stability, right? It's managed by Mental Health Association of Oklahoma. This is Ronnie Warrior, he's the program manager, and it's overseen by the city. The purpose, a cleaner community, but also a pathway to stability. And it's funded by the opioid settlement funds and a city allocation. All right, so how does it work? Well, we have a van. It's a roving outreach van. And on a 2-week period, so it's a 2-week period, they take up to 8 participants. It's voluntary, so they don't force 8 people to come on, but up to 8 people can participate for the 2-week period. It's a series of 3 days doing litter control 1 week, 2 days doing it the next week. The days that they're off is when they do wraparound services. So that's how the program works. $65 per day is the daily wage, and of course it's low barrier. There are no applications or anything like that. Participant impact, there's a daily wage and a pathway to stability. Community impact, cleaner community, and also I feel like improved community relations, right, for everyone. So here's the staffing model. They do have 4 permanent positions within AbWalk. You met Ronnie Warrior, the program manager. Right now, we did have an internal promotion. I was very excited. The van driver was promoted to the employment specialist, which means the van driver position is now open. It's being covered by the employment specialist, but it's open and it will be filled soon. Let's talk about results though, right? That's what we really want to hear. What have they done? And remember, they started in June. So we're talking June to the end of September. That's what I'm reporting now. I don't have the October stuff in here, just June to September. All right, remember it's to enhance the cleanliness of public spaces, but also improving water quality. Crews work on city-owned property, right-of-ways, stormwater easements with permission, and in certain parks for event prep. So that's what they're for. This is not an encampment cleanup crew. They can't work in dangerous areas like next to Highway 9. They're not going to pick up hazardous substances. You know, these are vulnerable folks too, so we want to protect them as well. But their priorities are clean neighborhood trash pickup. So you might know, or if you don't, I'm going to tell you. We have the Clean Neighborhood Program, and the Clean Neighborhood Program is a way for residents to say, hey, I want to do some improvement in my own neighborhood. So they sign up and they come pick up their materials and they clean in their neighborhood and they leave the trash. And then we go and pick it up and weigh it. So that's one of the priorities for the litter crew. Second, residents service requests. So if a resident calls or a staff member sees something or an elected official, whatever it is, resident requests come in, that's also a priority. And the priority mowing areas. So remember I said that this is also to help with water quality in the TMDL. The litter crew historically went out ahead of the mowing crews to clean up before the lawnmowers got there, right? Because that's a huge mess. So there are 20 priority mowing areas that they go to. Limited parks, like I said, for event prep. So Legacy Park before Monarchs in the Park, Sutton before we do a festival there, that kind of thing. And then other areas during downtimes, those heavily traveled corridors along Main Street, Lindsay, Alameda, Classen/Porter, those kinds of places. Bus stops and park benches, storm drain inlets, and then trailheads if they make it out that far. So those are the kinds of places that they go to. We do have a beautification plan, and it is signed, and it does have all the maps and everything. So I brought it. People can peruse it. It's always on my desk if anybody wants to look at it. Here are the metrics, right? So I called it Q1 plus because remember June is included in the quarter. But look at this. 32.9 tons of trash have already been collected. 32, oh my goodness. So I thought, you know what, let's go back and look historically at what the litter crew did. I only went back to 2019, 5 years or so. But look, 44, 25, 29, 0, that was because we halted, right?
Was Jason in charge of this crew in 2021?
During the pandemic? Yeah, they weren't having fun out here. 29, this was our highest in 23. But look, right now, 32.9. They're on track to almost double the largest that we've done so far. So I'm pretty proud. It's pretty exciting. Let's look at some pictures, right? That really speaks to it. This was a stormwater easement at the end of Brooks. It was, it did not have an encampment, but it had a lot of litter left over, so they went and cleaned it up. Here's off of 12th Street. And this is under one of our lovely bridges, right? All right, let's talk about wraparound results because remember, it's a dual focus. We have the community cleanup and also the wraparound services. Primary focus, because it's opioid settlement funds, is on those suffering from opioid use disorder or substance use disorder and those with co-occurring mental health disorders. How they work it is on van days. Every participant gets a copy of the program policy and participation policy, I think is what we call it, yeah. And so it talks about the rules and regulations, behavioral expectations, that kind of thing, and also how they can expect to be paid and what kind of services and what kind of commitment is looked for from the program. At lunch, the employment specialist brings lunch and then sits down to work on career profiles. And at the end of the day, the case manager comes out, gives the payment, and then works on those, determining what services are needed, finishing up paperwork, that kind of thing. On the non-van days, everybody's working in the community, trying to find businesses that can provide employment, working with lunches, working with service providers, those kinds of things, finding and procuring services for folks. They're doing the stuff like mental health service referral, medical referral, dental referral, vital records, documents, all of these things, career counseling, resume building, all of the things. And they even continue to engage with the participants past the 2-week period as, remember, it's voluntary, as the participant allows, right? Because it's all about that. So here's the impact. So far, out of all of the riders, which, there are 89 riders that have ridden on the bus for the entire time, 89. And of those, 57 have elected to receive services. And so that means they're starting the employment program. All of them are starting the employment program. Also, 2 have been referred for permanent housing, 2 for recovery services, 5 for going for benefits for DHS or Veterans Affairs, those kinds of things, how they can hook them up with those types of vital records. And in vital records, that includes legal things like if they need to mess with the court, etc. Medical, 11 medical referrals, 6 mental health service referrals. And then, look, 3 people, oh, you can't see that number, dang it, but 3 people already have permanent jobs, and that's after 4 interviews, so I'm very excited. Granted, they put in 156 applications for the actual participants, but that's really good. I'm so excited that 3 people have gotten a permanent Good job. Yay. So here are the benchmarks that we said from the RFP that we would be looking at. 25% of the folks who are suffering from those types of issues will access recovery services. We're at 12.5% currently. 10% will enroll in the job program. 64% have. Everybody wants a job. I like to hear that, right? 20% will submit job applications. 100% of the folks are submitting job applications. 25% will achieve stable employment. Right now, just after the first quarter, 7% have. That's great. I love to tell you guys good news. It's always a drag for bad news, but this is good. So here we are in the budgeting. Right now, we're right at about a quarter has been spent out of the budget, so it's on track, nothing weird. There is more in certain salaries right now because, like I said, the van driver position is vacant right now, but there you go. What's next? We got to fill that van driver position. It's posted, so it's going to happen. Continue beautification efforts. I'm looking for more people to know. I'm surprised that some people don't know about the program yet. Here is a card. What do you guys call these? It's a name card. Well, it's a brochure card, right? But there's a rat card. Rat card is what she called it. Anyway, there is a QR code to help people get referred to the program, but also clean requests at normanok.gov. That's how you get it to me so we can confirm eligibility. And then, of course, expand those client and employer partnerships.
So, couple things. Councilmember Holman had a couple of corridors with some visible litter. Just, things that don't let Norman put its best foot forward. And sent me over a couple of photos and cross streets, and the next day they were in the program and on the list and getting worked on. So there is still a nimble aspect to the program and the ability to go where the need calls. I would also like to take absolute credit for the success of this program because I had the wisdom to say, Michelle, help me solve this problem. And lo and behold, we recognize when we see a need and the only thing we're scratching our heads over is how are we going to pay for that? That's a good sign because resources tend to present themselves to us, and what we need to do is be ready to go. And we were ready to go. We had been in years past taking $50,000 a year out of our general fund, and in the Public Works Department, they would go out and hire folks during the summer and do litter pickup. And that budget needed to grow. We weren't able to keep up with the problem at $50,000. And one of the things the finance director and I will tell you over and over again is our goal is to preserve the general fund. So I'm thinking if I'm picking up trash, why isn't the trash fund paying for part of this effort? So we sat down with Mr. Mattingly and talked about where is the most realistic place from which to fund the effort. Solid waste was very logical. A lot of this stuff was in a trash can at one point and blew out of a trash can, or almost made it into the trash can and the wind blows it down the street. And then the opioid settlement money began to present itself. And that's when all the pieces came together. And thankfully, one of Councilmember Grant's requests a handful of budgets ago were these vehicles.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, the vehicle was available. It got wrapped. It's a rolling billboard for the program. And I was so excited to see the results of the effort for both the cleanup, the tonnage being removed from Norman streets and stormwater inlets, and then the lives touched. And I think we're punching above our weight when it comes to putting our hands on those opioid abatement dollars to make sure those dollars get spent in Norman. The need is here. We're funding as a conduit other nonprofit activities in Norman that directly impact the lives of those impacted by those the opioid crisis. And this was just icing on the cake. So hats off to Michelle. She does what she does, and she never disappoints. And I'm looking forward to seeing just regular updates on the tonnage and the lives and the lion's share of the program funded through the opioid abatement program. So
I can say to that end, I think having a quarterly report would make the most sense.
Great.
I did have some questions around employers and partnerships and also the types of jobs that are being sought and what did those 3 jobs look like when those guys got
Running wire.
Read the last
what jobs did the 3 people end up getting?
Taco Mayo, Salvation Army, and the third one is in the report. I forget where, but I know it was Taco Mayo, Salvation Army. We did just recently partner with Goodwill as well. Goodwill is going to start doing certification programs in warehouse, forklift, customer service, unarmed security. So
Give a
that's
variety.
yes. So on those non-band days, that's what we're going to be doing as well, get them in their certification program. So
Would restaurants, like when you're looking for expanded partnerships and opportunities for people to pick up a permanent job, are we saying restaurant industry,
we've
service
done,
industry,
yes, all that,
retail?
all that, yes, ma'am,
Okay.
all that.
Well,
But also certifications, and that's the cool thing about this Goodwill program, because like you said, there's forklift operation, there's unarmed security. So these are different flavors, not just retail or restaurant service industry, like you said.
gotcha. Is there overlap with Thunderbird Clubhouse at all?
No, there's not an overlap, you know.
Or a partnership with them?
Yeah, well, they got of course, the Cleveland County coordinated case management meetings that we attend, but as far as overlap of services, no.
So what that means, I think, is that they work in 2 different spheres of the
Yes,
service
yes.
world.
Okay, and I was kind of curious where, Hub 107 is closing
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately next Friday, and I know CSC MHC is open to having the van stop by and see if anybody's interested. And they also have folks on staff that are helping people who come in find jobs if they want them, so it feels natural. Where are you all going right now to find participants?
Well, City Care, Food and Shelter, and the Drop-In Center was one of our main spots. But for the most part, how we're determining our pickup spots, we're asking the participants, what's the best place to pick you up at. For example, like I was telling Michelle earlier, we had an individual that specifically stated she would rather be picked up at the on queue off a flood, and that's what we did, so we just try to meet them where they're at.
And how do you, so somebody saying, hey, I have somebody for the Better Way program, here's their application, and that application is telling you, hey, pick them up at the on queue.
Well, no, what happens is that referral, that person will make the referral. We have our case manager and van driver who builds the list. Once they make contact with them, then they'll make their determination what's the best pickup spot.
Okay.
Every morning our van driver gets here at 8 o'clock, to go get the van and then, start the pickup spots. And then he'll send out a text, got X amount of participants today. So we'll know, as far as what the payout will look like and how many lunches we need to get and everything, so.
And then a follow-up to the 2-week, so you follow up with them for 2 weeks after they've left the program?
Not necessarily 2 weeks. We until the needs are being met. So if it's case management, for example, if it's if it's getting vital documents, then until they get those documents as well as employment, so till all those needs are met, then that's when they exit out.
So the 2-week is the actual program itself. That's the ability to work the day labor part, and then they continue beyond the 2 weeks.
And can they keep, let's say 2 weeks are over and they want to work another 2 weeks?
Well,
Or the goal is this 2 weeks is to get you stable to move on to this next step.
It's more like that.
More like that, okay.
They don't want to become the
Yeah.
permanent
employee.
employee. You
Oh,
want to
no,
encourage
yeah,
the
yeah.
movement to the
right,
employer.
yes.
Yeah.
Now that
Little
said,
stepping
there
stone.
is, there is the opportunity to come back, but first you want to try to get the people who are at the
Right.
first.
Yes, that's what
I just wanted to make sure I understood that part. Like,
No,
'cause,
absolutely.
some people's timelines are different.
Absolutely.
Okay, I saw that Councilmember Gainsbury had a question.
How do we go about getting the racks?
I have a bunch on my doer's table, and I can bring you some too.
With us at the hospital and everything like that, with some clients that we serve on a normal basis and everything like that, I'd like some to be able to
Fantastic.
possibly hand out and give people at least something, other resources available to them.
Okay, Mayor Holman?
Yeah, the other part too about the funding is being able to get it off the ground with opioid settlement money, but that won't last forever, obviously, so. But I forget how many years did we say?
18.
18 years.
So it won't be forever.
We can fund it through that for 18 years,
I'm
but
gonna be all wrinkled up by
the
then.
idea too that, I mean, we haven't had a sanitation rate increase in more than a decade. And if this is a successful program that residents really buy into, then the next time or whenever it's needed, that can be factored into a future sanitation rate is funding that program after the settlement money runs out or before or whatever. But the hope is that, yeah, that it proves itself and is successful and residents in Norman want to keep it around, so, or expand it even, I don't know, in the future.
Councilmember Dixon?
I'm reading through the packet and the agenda. I was just gonna say, I was impressed with the kind of the wide range of the places that people applied for. I mean, it was big box stores, it was small stores, it was fast food, fast casual, full sit-down restaurants. It wasn't just, three. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was all over. I appreciate that. And I really, really, really like the wraparound services. That's what, I mean, I think it's great. The trash is getting picked up and all that, but I think it's the wraparound services that I really, really appreciate and like seeing the success stories from it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
You know where I am.
Thank you.
Michelle?
Thank you.
Appreciate the work.
Thank you.
We can move on to item 2, which is a presentation and discussion regarding the use of portable restrooms in parks. And I'd like to recognize Jason Olson.
Love coming and talking about portable restrooms with you guys every opportunity I get. Last time when we talked, we came and presented about 2 possibilities with 2 different vendors. One of them was Good to Go. The other one was Throne Labs. We did have Throne Labs scheduled to present to you today, but they had to cancel at the last moment. So I was just going to briefly go over those discussions with those 2 vendors, and Throne Labs said that they definitely can come to Oversight next month and do a full presentation. So I don't want to get into everything that they have and necessarily present what they're going to talk to you about next week. But Good to Go was a vendor that provides QR codes currently to mainly retailers to get in and out of the bathrooms or the restrooms inside those retail shops. They were very interested in talking to a park system and maybe integrating that technology along into a park system. They even sent us a little bit of a what I would call a proposal, and they want to work with us and maybe use us as a pilot program. In talking to them, when we started talking about their software, they just provided pretty much was an instant QR code that really didn't collect any information or give you an option to leave feedback or anything on those restrooms. This is basically what they described into the retail space as mainly a deterrent. So typically when you see those QR codes, there is some kind of registration that goes on with that, and they didn't necessarily have that for that. And the thing that they were trying to explain to us, especially when you go into like a Target or Kohl's, it will give you a timestamp if that is connected to some kind of usually a surveillance system, so that they could find out what was happening when it was happening. So you can generally find out, or at least connect a face with somebody if there was vandalism done in those restrooms. So we do have a proposal from them. It would be an installation fee, then a kind of a small monthly fee to use their technology and their software. The one we did find very interesting, and I even shared this with, as soon as we talked, I got pretty excited about it. And I know it's kind of weird when you're talking to somebody, it's like, getting excited about some portable restrooms. This Thrones, which you'll see next month, and I don't mind handing this around. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything first. But this is the company that basically will bring a small mobile restroom to your community. It does have it's air conditioned, it's heated. They have things that like they put special wallpaper up there that's very. It kind of looks like a leaf, and that way, if it gets vandalized, they have extra paper to go in there and cover up the area that got vandalized. This also has a QR code that does record the information of who's going in and out of that restroom. You scan the app, and you do put in information that goes along with it. What I found interesting to go along with this, they also work with local homeless shelters to give them cards for those who don't have cell phones. It has a QR code on that, and your partners that are running those homeless shelters can work with those individuals to register them so that those QR codes could work. They also for this, they would come and move it quarterly. So 4 times a year, we could find out if that part was, or that where we were sticking it in the area of town was working, or if we had restrooms that did come online, if we were using it in a park or a downtown system or area, we could move them to a different area so that they don't necessarily are connected to anything permanently. They collect all the waste, and they do have freshwater tanks on site, so they would be emptied. They're not hooked into any system. They're completely, or sewer system, completely independent. ADA accessible. They do have 24/7 remote monitoring. Another thing that was kind of unique about this, because they're mainly out in California, they're starting to spread a little bit out into the Oregon areas. They do collect the data, so if you do have somebody go in there and it is a bad actor goes in there and does vandalism, they can cut off their privileges to use that restroom. They also, which is kind of unique about them, they like to connect a cleaning contract with this restroom, or depending on what you sign up or how much you're willing to spend, they can clean anywhere between 1 to 3 times a day. And that would stay completely independent of that. And you don't really buy it. You don't buy into this, so this is more of a lease action. So you would work with them to try to find lease. The biggest negative to this one, they don't have any restrooms in a central part of the United States. So we would have to work with some of our neighboring cities or neighboring government organizations, probably, to try to figure out all this. Trying to make sure I hit everything about Youth Thrones. They are, when you compare them to a Portland Lou, we did tell you that that would be very expensive, and not only is it expensive, you're kind of bought into the area you put in there, because you have to connect to electrical, you have to connect to water, you have to connect to sanitation. So wherever you put that, it's going to be there for a while. And that is somewhere, I think as we are costing that out, is about $225,000-$250,000, depending on which one you get, and then you can count on another probably $100,000 to kind of get it installed. So you're probably talking somewhere in $300,000 to $400,000 on a Portland lose. But that's kind of what we saw. So we got a lot of positivity, and I think by the end of the year, hopefully we'll have some more idea of if we want temporary restrooms to go in parks or in our certain areas of town. I think that we're working in the right direction. And I know as soon as I pass this on to Daryl, he shared with his city manager network, and I think they got some interest from other parts of town. So we're very interested when they actually can fit into the schedule and come talk to you guys.
They need 15 units to be installed to have critical mass, to hire a contractor to come do the maintenance. And I thought, what an impressive level of service to think you could get it cleaned 3 times a day. The mobility of the unit can help determine where ultimately permanent facilities should go during construction, like the reconstruction and redevelopment of Andrews Park through the implementation of that master plan. what a great opportunity to say, this side of the park's gonna have a bunch of earthwork done. You can move it to a different location in the park and now be really, really mindful of that line of sight. So there's eyes on it, and it just keeps the units in a better place to reduce vandalism and ensure safety of anybody who's going in and out. So the concept of that QR code, it's one of those things you think, man, I wish I would have invented that. And we've got restrooms, and I think Mr. Olson will correct me if I'm wrong, we've got timers so we can lock them at a certain hour and that type of thing. This is just the next level in technology, and the ability to say, that particular user is connected with vandalism in similar facilities and turn it off. Your behavior prevents you from using these facilities. You can come to City Hall if you need to, but it gives you a way to make it a little more cost effective in the long run, so the taxpayers aren't having to do that.
And I forgot to mention, these also have timers on them, so where we saw a lot of problems, especially in our park restrooms, is if somebody's in there an extended period of time. So this would give you a notice once your time was expiring.
I was gonna ask, next month, I know we have probably ideas where it could go, but could we have like a realistic list that would give us an idea of how many we would want to commit to? And then maybe in the city manager network and other ways that we can reach out to other communities, have a rough idea of people who are seriously interested, whether that's OKC or OU, or we had talked to COCMHC about that. As on the city side of things, I see the transit center somewhere near it being an ideal spot for one of these. But yeah, anyways, just
Yeah,
thoughts about
and
next month.
when we talked to them, we said we'd probably want 2 or 3 of them, and we mentioned Andrews Park on a temporary basis. We did mention a location somewhere in downtown, and that we'd also have a third one, which could kind of, if we wanted a third one, kind of rotate in there. And their average cost is about $80,000 per unit per year.
Do we have any parks that are kind of remote that don't have bathrooms? Like, does Saxon have a bathroom?
Saxon does not have one right now, but they're in the process of
Building
as soon as we get a certain department builds a road connecting through there, we'll have.
Mayor Holman?
Reeves Park, no, we're gonna build a new one. We had to tear the one that was there down. Gonna build a new one, but
Yep,
might
that's the
be
one.
not sure yet, so that could be a thing. There's lots of, baseball and softball going on out there. I think I want to know more about them working with the shelter and being able to sign people up, because I feel like putting one in Andrews Park with the QR code would help with the general public needing a place to go to the bathroom and bring the kids there and have a birthday party. But I definitely worry about how many people at the shelter that are wandering around during the day, how many of them do have a phone that can scan something and will work. And if they're not signed up and they walk up to it and they really have to go, they're probably not going to mess with it. Are they going to go right in front of it, right next to it? So I don't know if there's some. I'd like to know more information from them, and maybe next month, about how do they actually do that, and do
How it
they
actually
give them
works.
a card that they just scan if they don't have a phone?
Yeah.
And Councilmember Holman, that metric I think is an interesting question, and we have a couple of places that we might be able to gather data about the true penetration rate of who got a cell phone. And Mr. Purinton, in our community docket, it would be interesting if we recognized how many people go through municipal court. Does everybody have a cell phone? And then it's a question we can ask the folks at City Care. Could you guys just give us an idea about what percentage of the population that comes to our shelter have cell phones? And we all probably have a guess, but I think we got a couple of points where data could be gathered just to see, is it 95% of the folks in Norman have cell phones, or, so we can get an idea about the magnitude of the impact of people being unable to access that service.
And they have a pretty good case study of, and I know you're comparing states are really far away, but the city of Los Angeles has over 100 restrooms with them. City of San Francisco also has 100 over 100 restrooms with them, and they said they're working at a pretty high success rate of making sure the homeless population either has phone access or some kind of card access to get inside of it.
Like you could see it if they're going to City Care, they're getting a card when they get checked in, or if they're going to CSC, MHC, or just any of the providers. I don't know if you would get one at municipal court or whatever, but maybe if they have a violation, or do you get a ticket for using the bathroom in public? Okay. Yeah. So, any other questions about this topic?
Just, where would it be parks funding, where would it be?
Yeah, eventually, it would become a function, and basically we might see a reduction in our maintenance expenses because a third party would be providing that maintenance service. So just a shift from one line to another line potentially. And even a conversation we've talked about, hotel bed tax and how it can be used, and a portion of that recent hotel bed tax increase comes back to parks facilities maintenance. We know that now we've been leapfrogged by Oklahoma City in our hotel bed tax rate. That if that got trued back up to where OKC is, I mean, you could potentially fund the whole program from a line item like that.
And you're saying they need the metro area to have 15 of them?
Yep.
In the metro area?
And they would have one contractor that would maintain
Okay.
15. That's a bundle of
And
service.
so we get the new restroom built at Reeves, so we end up not needing one there next year. And then we get the first restroom at Andrews built as part of the master plan, and we don't need another one there. Does that jeopardize all the other towns that agreed to have one, or
I wouldn't think.
what if we all of a sudden don't need as many, or we just need 2 of them now instead of 4?
Right. I would think over time, we'll actually recognize more utility and the ability to provide enhanced services to different parts of town, one where facilities may not exist at all, and the expense of running sewer and water and electrical is just cost prohibitive, but we can roll this off the back of the truck and have full ADA accessibility.
And this is a year-to-year lease, so if we are, 1 year we need 3, we're paying whatever their lease price is for that. Next year we need 5, we up our price. But if we're ticking down or whatever, it's just we'll expire that lease at that time. I think once they come in the market, it's probably up to them to make sure they're outselling more, or they go below that number. They're already here, so maybe that will be
You think
sufficient
about
for them.
Los Angeles and San Francisco with 100+ units, not that big a stretch to think you can get 15 with 1 million people in the metro.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna also thinking about like big events where there's gonna be a lot of traffic in one of the parks for maybe a season. I was also thinking Reeves because you have Medieval Fair, Earth Day,
Juneteenth.
yeah.
And they'll move it quarterly, so yeah, we can
Oktoberfest.
follow the seasons and follow the festivals.
And two, the reason we don't have restroom facilities in Saxon right now is because we do not have the access to water or sewage out there. So, as we keep developing parks, there are areas that we don't have utilities in there. So, there's always the possibility, because you don't need anything. It produces its own electricity. They come and take the waste and they fill it up on a daily basis. So, this can literally go anywhere.
Shop.
Yep.
That's awesome.
All right, any other questions? Mayor Holman?
Just again, just want to make sure that we're addressing the whole issue that we're trying to address. And like I said, I think there's a need for just the general public visiting the parks, like Andrews, to have a bathroom. We hear that from parents that have kids there and don't know that the police department's open, or don't know about City Hall, and they're just like, there's no restroom in this park. The skate park is, busy till late night, pretty much every night till the lights go off. And so, but the issue being, we know people that are potentially homeless that have nowhere to go to the restroom. Businesses aren't going to let them go in, and we don't want them to be using the restroom on the sidewalk in front of, on Main Street or anywhere outside. We'd like for them to have a place in private like we all expect. So just making sure that we're able to accomplish that with whatever we do.
All right, well, we're adjourned. Thank you, Jason.